LR, the liberal redneck here, coming to you from a country where the blitzkrieg attack against our democracy by President Felon and Herr Musk is showing multiple signs of collapse. They tried to create so much chaos that their major goals would get lost in the shuffle. It worked for a while, but voters, judges, and the resistance are applying the brakes, and their sycophants in both houses of Congress are starting to have second thoughts. Republican lawmakers are being roasted when they host town hall meetings with their very angry constituents. In response, the party called an end to town halls, one of their typically chicken shit moves. Their offices at home and in Washington have been overwhelmed with withering calls from outraged citizens. 20 of the DOGE employees resigned en masse when the results of their random mass firings put their lives on the line, and they weren't ready to fall on their swords for Felon and Musk. Comrade Krasnov was so busy sucking up to Putin, he did not realize his absurd comment that Ukraine started the war with Russia would turn most of the world against the United States. The Gestapo-like raids by ICE to arrest illegal immigrants obviously was the concept of a plan that overlooked those nasty details like housing and transportation, and greatly limited the goals promised by Felon in the campaign. But it did cripple the construction industry and the farming industry, when workers they depend on were afraid to come to work because they might be arrested. Now ICE is going after the real terrorist, unaccompanied migrant children. That is just disgusting. They thought that putting their hand-picked toadies in charge of the military would allow them to use the U.S. forces against rebellious citizens. Sorry, guys, but U.S. soldiers are not going to shoot their parents, siblings, friends, and neighbors while you decimate their benefits. The firings of the military's high command also did not go over well with the troops, and the drunk Secretary of Defense is an unwelcome albatross via his ineptitude. House Speaker Johnson was singing Praise Jesus when he and his Republican colleagues passed the nastiest budget in the history of our nation. They gutted Medicaid and SNAP that offer relief to the poorest citizens in order to give their billionaire donors a huge tax break and increase the deficit by $5 trillion. They are trying to override the Constitution in order to let Felon run again for president in 2028. If he is still alive, which is doubtful at best. Felon and Vance tried to double-team Ukraine President Zelensky in order to gain control of his country's vast storehouse of highly desired natural resources. Zelensky basically told them to take their proposal and shove it up their ass sideways. It was a glorious thing to witness. Felon was already counting the billions he would siphon off from such a deal, and he was left holding an empty wallet. Well done, President Zelensky. Thanks for listening, and keep the resistance alive every way you can. It's driving Felon nuts. Sorry, make that nuttier.